I welcome you to today's class. We'll be learning about active and passive voice. In fact, one of the characteristics of verbs is voice. It determines what form a verb takes and how it is used in a sentence. A verb's voice can either be active or passive. We use the active voice to make our sentences crystal clear, and oftentimes people feel that it is the heart of good communication. So in this video, we are going to look at three things. First of all, we are going to look at what an active voice means. Then we'll also look at how to make an active sentence. And thirdly, we'll learn three reasons as to why we use it in sentences. To be a very lovely class, and I love you to pay attention. First of all, what does the active voice mean? You would ask. It simply means that someone or something is performing an action. Such person is referred to as the doer. When we write in the active voice, the doer comes before the verb. For example, Jack drives a car. Jack drives a car. When we write this sentence, one would ask, who drives a car? Jack, right? And what is our verb? Drives. Okay. So Jack is doing the action of driving. He is the doer. In the other example, many people will sign Jack's birthday card. Now, who will sign the cards? Many people. Okay? And our verb there is sign, indicated on red ink. So it is the people that are doing the action. In another example, the Gold Star Hotel is hosting a conference. Now, who is the one who is holding a conference? Of course, Gold Star Hotel. Okay? While our verb there is. So, in the fourth example, management would like to wish everyone a Merry Christmas. Who is the one sending good wishes? Management. Okay? So management is the doer of the action. You can say the subject of the sentence. Whereas like is the verb. So now, let's see why it is good to use the active voice. First of all, we use the active voice because it is much easier to comprehend. We understand information more clearly. If we have to speak in the passive voice, we would need more time to process an information. Let's try it out. Here are two sentences. Check which one is easier to understand. Sentence number 1. An exchange of contracts was made by the agents last week. Sentence number 2. The agents exchanged contracts last week. Which sentence was quicker to understand? If you said sentence number 2, then you write it is quicker and it is easier to understand. The first sentence is what we call the passive voice. The phrase was made is the action. Who did the action? The agents. In the passive voice, the information about the doer comes last. In our second sentence, this information is right at the beginning of the sentence. So the doer is at the front, okay? And that's the agents. So we think in the active voice, we plan in the active voice, and we naturally also speak in the active voice. Let's look at the second reason. We use less words in the active voice. Let's consider the previous examples we gave, starting with the passive voice. An exchange of contracts was made by the agents last week. That's in the passive, right? Then the agents exchange contrast last week. The passive has 11 words, whereas the active has just 6 words. That's 7 of 5 words, not so? A third reason is that active sentences are easier to understand as messages are conveyed more clearly using less words. So in summary, an active voice is when the subject is the doer of the action. Then we make active voice when we put the subject before the verb. And thirdly, active voice makes our message easier, clearer to understand, and even uses less words. So we've come to the end of this class. Remember, language is about communication, and being a good communicator is knowing how to be clear and concise, and the active verb helps you to do so. Having said this, there is a place for the passive voice, and we will learn about this in the next class. Right now, go ahead and do your fun game, and thereafter do your assignment. They are really nice.